What your cat's tail is telling you right now. Look at your cat right now. Where is their tail? Is it straight up, curved at the tip, wrapped around their body, moving slowly or flicking fast, puffed out or relaxed? Most people notice the tail. Almost no one knows how to read it. Your cat's tail is not a decoration, and it's not random. It is their most continuous, most visible form of communication. A real-time display of exactly what they're feeling in any given moment. And it operates in plain sight. In complete silence, all day long. Cats can't speak, but their tail rarely stops talking. The problem is that most owners have never been given the vocabulary. Today, that changes. Here are the 8 positions that matter most, and what each one is actually saying. 1. Straight up, the highest greeting in their language. If you come home and your cat meets you with their tail pointing straight up toward the ceiling, you are receiving the most positive social signal in their entire vocabulary. This tail position, vertical, upright, sometimes with just the very tip softly curved, is the feline equivalent of a wave, a genuine, deliberate hello. But it's more than that. Researchers studying social behavior in cats, both domestic and feral, found that the upright tail greeting is used exclusively between cats who share positive relationships. A cat will raise their tail in approach only toward individuals they feel safe with and bonded to. In feral colonies, this greeting is essentially a trust declaration. It says, "I see you, I am comfortable, I have no threat to signal, you matter to me." The next time your cat's tail is vertical, the moment you walk in, they're not just acknowledging you, they're telling you that you're the reason it goes up. 2. Upright with a quivering tip, the most intense positive emotion they can show. You might have seen this one and not known what to make of it. The tail goes up, and then it vibrates. A rapid, fine tremor starting at the base and running up to the tip. This is the emotional intensity version of the upright greeting. The vibration is involuntary. It's not controlled communication the way a slow position shift is. It's the body expressing something that exceeds what a static posture can convey. Cats do this in 2 specific contexts. The first is the highest intensity greeting. When they see someone they have a very strong attachment to after an absence they found meaningful. The second context is in some cats during bunting or other affiliative contact, when the emotional intensity of the interaction triggers the response. If your cat's tail quivers when they see you, they're not just glad you're back, they're overwhelmed with it. 3. The question mark hook. Warm, but still evaluating. The tail rises, but not fully vertical. Instead, it curls at the top into a soft hook, like a question mark turned backward. This position is a modified approach signal. The cat is oriented positively toward you. They're interested in contact, but there's a slight reservation in the posture. They haven't fully committed to the interaction yet. This is common in cats who are generally trusting, but more cautious in their approach style, or in situations where something has mildly disrupted the usual comfort level. A new person nearby, an unfamiliar smell, a recent disturbance in the home. The positive intent is there. The full openness isn't quite yet. The correct response to a question mark tail is patience. Don't reach. Let them close the remaining distance on their terms. The hook tends to straighten as they decide the interaction is safe. If you want to understand what all of this means for how you connect with your cat day to day, subscribe because the next positions are the ones most owners completely misread. 4. Puffed out, scared, not aggressive. This is one of the most important misreadings in cat behavior. When a cat's tail puffs up, the technical term is piloerection, where individual hairs stand up to increase the apparent size of the tail. Most people assume the cat is aggressive, ready to fight, dangerous. This is usually wrong. A puffed tail is primarily a fear response. The cat's sympathetic nervous system has activated and caused the hair follicles along the tail and often the spine to stand upright. This is the same mechanism humans experience as goosebumps, and it serves the same original function, making the animal look larger in the presence of a perceived threat. The key word is perceived. The threat doesn't have to be real. A sudden loud noise, an unfamiliar animal, an unexpected touch, a new object in the home. These can all trigger the puff. What you're seeing is a cat that is frightened, not a cat that is planning to attack. This matters because the wrong response to a puffed tail, approaching, reaching, trying to reassure through contact, can trigger an actual defensive bite or scratch. The cat isn't acting out. They're in a fear response. The correct move is to give space and wait for the tail to relax before attempting any interaction. 5. Low and slowly sweeping. This is a warning. A tail held low, swinging slowly from side to side, means your cat is in a state of conflict or suppressed aggression. This is not the same as a slow, relaxed tail movement. This sweep is deliberate, controlled, and often accompanied by other subtle tension signals: a fixed gaze, slightly flattened ears, stiff body posture. This is the equivalent of a yellow light. Your cat is not yet acting on whatever is building internally, but they are building. Something has activated a response, a perceived territorial violation, an interaction they want to end, discomfort they've been signaling in other ways that has gone unacknowledged. When you see a low, slow tail sweep, the correct response is to stop whatever you're currently doing. If you're petting them, stop. If you're in their space, create some distance. If another animal is nearby, separate them. The cat is telling you clearly that the current situation needs to change, and they'd rather not escalate it themselves. Most cats would prefer not to scratch or bite. The low sweep is them giving you the chance to avoid it. 6. Tail wrapped around you. The quiet arm around the shoulder. Cats sometimes drape their tail over another cat's back, or wrap it briefly around a human's leg, arm, or ankle. This is not accidental. It's intentional contact, and it carries social meaning, directly parallel to what it would mean if a person put an arm around someone's shoulder. Affiliation, comfort, a quiet signal of closeness that doesn't require anything to be said. In multi-cat households, tail wrapping between cats is a reliable indicator of a genuinely positive relationship. It's not something cats do with cats, they're merely tolerating or coexisting with neutrally. It requires trust, proximity, and a bond that has developed over time. When a cat does this with a human, they are extending the same social signal. They're choosing you for a small, brief, but deliberate act of closeness. If it happens when you're sitting or lying down and your cat moves alongside you and their tail comes to rest on or against you, they've included you in their circle in the quietest possible way. 7. Tucked under the body, something is wrong. A tail tucked tightly beneath the body, pressed flat, sometimes held against the belly. This is not a comfortable cat. This is a cat in a state of significant stress, anxiety, or submission. Unlike the puffed tail, which is a reactive response to a sudden threat, the tucked tail often indicates a sustained state. It's the posture of a cat who has been living in a condition that doesn't feel safe, or who is in the presence of something or someone that makes them want to disappear. Chronic tail tucking, where you notice this position regularly, is one of the clearest environmental signals your cat can give you. It means the current situation, the home environment, the interactions they're having, the stimuli they're exposed to, is generating persistent stress that isn't resolving. This deserves attention. Not because you've necessarily done something wrong, but because your cat is telling you as clearly as they can that they're not okay and they don't know how to change it. Identifying the source and removing or reducing it is one of the most meaningful things you can do for a cat who shows this position consistently. 8. The slow wag versus the fast flick. Same motion, opposite meanings. Final distinction, and it's one that causes real confusion, because the same basic movement can mean two completely different things. A slow, relaxed tail movement, unhurried, wide, almost lazy, is usually associated with focused attention on something interesting. Your cat watching a bird through the window, tracking a small insect, observing movement in another part of the room. The tail moves because the brain is engaged, not because the cat is stressed. A fast, sharp flick, particularly of just the tail tip, often tight and repetitive, means something completely different. This is irritation, the same nerve activation that causes the stress sweep, but at a faster frequency, indicates a cat whose tolerance is reaching its limit. You'll see this flick appear when petting goes on too long, when a noise is repeated and annoying, or when something the cat wants has been unavailable for too long. Watch the speed, watch the area of movement, base of the tail or tip. Watch what the rest of the body is doing alongside it. The tail will tell you almost everything, if you know what you're looking for. Your cat has been speaking this language every single day. Now you have the vocabulary. Start watching, and you'll find that their tail is almost never still and almost never silent. Subscribe if you want to keep learning what your cat has been saying all along.